Homes for under $100,000 in the United States of America, and you could pick and choose them. Wow, that's amazing. That's what happens when you have incomes and wages are tied to real estate prices. So when the job market doesn't look good, or the country is unstable, or there's some sort of economic strife, housing adjusts to where it should be. Unfortunately, if you're living in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the blue states of America, that's Amerifornia, you are in trouble financially if you own real estate anywhere there and you owe money on it. And I'm talking about huge amounts of money. So let's take a look at what's happening, how it's happening, and where it's happening. And before we go to these homes that are listing every day for under 100,000, so most people will look at this house and say, "Yeah, Mike, that's in a that's in a ghetto. That's the dangerous area. 65 grand. Pff, that's 65 grand American, Mike. Okay, the 90,000 Canadian." But you know what this 1,600 square foot would cost you within the 100-mile radius of Vancouver, Toronto, or major cities of Canada? Probably $700 to $1.4 million. And that thing actually has land, too. So let's go into what's happening in Let's look at what's happening real quick in Canada. Nearly 1 in 4 Canadians unable to pay their bills, say TransUnion. And this is from our friends over at Better Dwelling. But we've been already warning you that interest rates are headed to 9% by 2022. Must watch or inflation will creep up. 4 years ago. So this is something we've been on. Look, Canadians have borrowed way too much. Interest rates need to hedge against inflation 5 years ago. And people using their homes as ATM machines. Canadians in trouble as central bank is aggressively moving up rates. That's 11 months ago. So we started to see major bankruptcies ahead as nearly half of Canadians are being worse off financially than a year. So there it is right there. The great Canadian economic tsunami to affect everyone. Well, that's only 8 months ago. But we've been on the horn about this. And then Canadians try to pile on more debt for food and electricity when they raise rates. So that's something we talked about. So if you go to Channel Time Machine, Canadians are drowning in debt to maintain basic middle-class lifestyle 6 years ago. So everybody was house broke. Canadians taking on too much debt, the mother of all debt loads, credit cards going nuts. And then obviously our housing is tied to money laundering. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. And there you go right there. Money laundering forcing Canadian middle class into homelessness. Money laundering by foreigners destroying housing affordability. And that's why we have an epidemic of empty homes everywhere and incomes. Same thing in Australia. And same thing everywhere. And that's why we've been calling it Sheena Da for years. And 6 years ago, Toronto housing severely unaffordable, young families leaving, Toronto CCP money laundering. And middle class to be wiped out by 2018, money laundering destroying young families 5 years ago. So there it is right there. We've been warning you guys for, look at this, money laundering destroying home affordability in Canada, the worst in almost 30 years. So we could do this. We could go back. We could look at what we said, because I have spoken. I have said what I had to say all these years. Nobody really cared about what I had to say because I'm just a little nobody, which is fine. But all the Rumble heroes are going to be saving lives now. So there it is right there. So, oh, it just updated there. So there it is right there. So when I say people, when I show this to like a house like this the other day to somebody, look at that, 2 bedrooms, a good starter home. Just if you live alone, or you're just, you're single or something, or you're retired, you just want to be quiet, you live in a quiet area in Tennessee, 100 grand. Oh, but that's American. Okay, 130 grand. This anywhere in Canada, you're looking at about 430 anywhere. Anywhere that's there's a civilization or off of an interstate highway. So look at this, multiple homes. And you see, when your incomes are tied to real estate prices, oh no, Mike, that's the starting bidding price. No, there's no bidding wars in these places, especially when they have anti-money laundering laws in place in the red states. So, and there it is right there. So we could be here for days. You could pick and choose what you want to start off with, what you want to, in Canada, this, and then you know how much the property tax and insurance would be for this in Canada? Like the insurance for this, you're probably paying $140 to $200 a month, and then property tax, you're looking at about $200 to $300 a month in property tax in some cities in Canada for something like this. So now, if you're paying property tax on a house that's worth 64 grand, I'm pretty sure you're going to be a lot better off. And, oh, but there's no jobs in America. Yeah, there's a country with 300 million plus people, but there's no jobs. Yeah, I keep hearing one after another. So you take your pick and choice, whatever you want to be off an interstate in a rural area, you want a homestead, you want to be off grid, you want to, whatever you want. This is what happens when wages and incomes are tied to real estate prices, because people end up losing because they over leverage. So this person may have been over leveraged and now can't afford the $26,000, right? This person may have over leveraged, but imagine in Canada where people are over leveraging on. Let me see if I could find that housing ripoff thing we talked about here, where like the housing is the housing ripoff and people paying millions. Yeah, but that's in a grand part of Australia. You know what? The house bang for the buck isn't worth anywhere near. So like houses like this, watch, like going for millions of dollars like that, millions of dollars in Australia, in Canada, and like garage is selling for a couple of million. I think it's $1 million plus dollars. Garage home for $1 million. Rental ripoffs. Like that house right there. My friend was in the store a few months back. Look at that house right there, like 800 grand. It's like, really, what is the deal with all this? What is the deal with this? Let's see what this one is.
Donald Trump's house.
So let's go. I don't know why there's there it is right there. Look at this beautiful house on King Edward Avenue, $5.5 million in Vancouver. $5.5 million. Look at that. Oh, an American? What is that? 3.94 or $4 million bucks in American? So when you take the 5.5 Canadian, let's convert that to American, and then look what you could buy with 3 months worth of payments. You could, in 3-4 months of payments, you could buy one of these free and clear, and it's actually a better home. That for 74 grand is probably 4,500 times better than that, hands down. Hands down. Imagine the property tax on a $5.5 million house. Holy crap. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because I'm getting more and more people saying, hey, Mike, you were right all these years about housing. Mike, you were right about inflation. Mike, you were right about artificially low interest rates. Mike, you were right all these years. Mike, you were right. It's not about being right. It's about, hopefully I've warned people. Hopefully people... I don't get a lot of views on the videos, though. That's the problem. You go back 10 years, my 2012 videos are like, I got 2 videos from 2012. And I'm walking the empty streets of Vancouver showing people what's happening and how there's like abandoned homes everywhere. They're all gone. So like it's getting really, really, really hard to try and get the message out. I don't know. I just wish I was better at explaining myself or trying to get the word out. Incomes and wages need to be tied to real estate prices. And let's see if I even made a video over the years about that. Let's see if I even made a video. Let's see. I'm just doing this live, guys, so. Here. 5 years ago. $3.5 million home that realistically worth 240 grand if incomes were tied to housing. So if incomes were tied to housing, that house, whatever it is in that video, should be only worth $240,000. But they pay $3.4 million. Housing speculators refuse to pay taxes. Let's see if we have here. Let's see if we type in incomes tied, because I have almost 5,000 videos, right? A lot of them were taken down though. Follow the money laundering. People eating their homes. 82% of Toronto's debt is tied to real estate 4 years ago. Canadians are losing to money laundering. Housing taxes could put recent buyers underwater 5 years. So, yeah, there's a lot going on here. Look, people have to work 5 to 6 jobs to make their basic ends meet. Housing ticking time bomb 5 years ago. Wake up Australia, household debt makes up 123% of Australian economic, billions tied to real estate. So, yeah. I could have sworn I made more videos. I probably said it in videos, but I didn't put. Anyways, guys, holy crap, it's 10 minutes. Sorry for taking so much of your time if you watched this whole video. Thanks for following, liking, and subscribing. And this is the position we are in now. And a lot of people ask me, what do I do now, Mike? Do I sell my house, make some money? Of the equity, do I... Like, you're going to have to... Again, Canada itself needs to correct itself from the money laundering, needs to unplug itself from the money laundering. Canada itself needs to unplug from the whole foreign investing. Canada itself needs to tie incomes and average wage earners to real estate again if they want to see Australia too, New Zealand, everywhere. And that's where we're at right now. That's what needs to happen. That's the solution. We need to put money laundering laws back in place. The investigations went through. Nothing happened because they didn't want to charge people. Because they were Canadians, right? So they're not going to charge foreigners for investing in their country, right? So there it is right there, folks, in a nutshell. Homes in America under 100 grand, pick and choose whatever you want. There's tons. And if you are buying a home in the United States to escape what's happening here, make sure you just make sure you know what the property taxes are. Make sure if you want to insure the home. A lot of people, when they buy a $40,000 house, they just don't pay. I mean, it burns to the ground, or it floods, or it falls over, then they just build a new house on their land, right? It's not expensive, right? And building a house in Canada versus in the States, it's like a 2,000% increase to build one in Canada versus building one in the States, right? So, anyways, comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.